So we all know Syndicate's story by now, right? Jacob and Evie Fry versus Crawford Starrick. Well, I was replaying Syndicate the other day and a thought came to my head. What if Jacob wasn't an assassin? Of course, most people would say, oh yeah, he probably should have been more of a gang leader. But my immediate thought was Huntsman Outfit. Now, if you don't know what I mean by Huntsman Outfit, well, I'm talking about the Huntsman Outfit. Yeah, no shit, right? I think that Ubisoft should have made Jacob an ex-assassin, who ended up leaving the assassins in Crawley to go to London around the time that he and Evie were 15 to 16 years old. Still not sure about the exact motive for him leaving yet, but whatever. In London, Jacob is taken in by a police officer of some kind, I'm not quite sure who yet, and grows up to become one of London's youngest detectives around the age of maybe 19 to 20 years old. The main story could be less about the assassins retaking London with gangs and more about Jacob and Evie reconnecting, and by the end of the game, Jacob could rejoin the assassins and fight alongside Evie and Henry, because he's actually really cool just outside of the game itself, to take down Starrick. Not to mention, the story could explore how Jacob feels guilty or regretful about not being at his father's side when he died. By the way, I haven't really seen anyone mention this, but Ethan Fry, Jacob and Evie's dad, actually died like 2 to 3 weeks before the game takes place. Some people might be thinking that because of Jacob's allegiance to the law, he wouldn't get to take out any Templars, but that's not the case at all. It could be a story beat about how Jacob continually tries to arrest Templars for their crimes, but because of the corrupt system letting them out, Jacob turns to Evie and Henry for help, and as a result of that, starts to get rid of Templars outside of the law, like an assassin. Or he could be like Frederick Aberline, where he gets info on where the Templars will be and when for Evie, which would work well considering that Evie is the most assassin-like of the twins. I think a cool thing that could have happened if Jacob was a detective was that Jacob could have been treated differently in the open world, like constables coming to your aid in battle if they see you being attacked, and they won't continue to fight you. Also, Jacob could have had his own personal carriage with his connections in the London police, as well as access to non-lethal weaponry like the constable's baton. I think for stealth it could change things, like Jacob can't kill until he gets his hidden blade, but his knockout animations are really quick compared to Evie's. Or since Jacob's a policeman for most of the story, any children you free from factories wouldn't get scared when they see you, and would instead run to you for protection, while with Evie they would run from her because their first impression of her is murder, even if it's bad people. And I guess that goes for all prisoners that you would free in this game. And of course, the main thing everyone is so divided about would be changed as well. The tone of the story, I mean. Imagine the tone of AC Victory was in Syndicate, and Jacob was changed fundamentally as a character, serving not as the comedic relief, but as the heart of a story about acceptance and the tragedy of survivors' guilt, which, in a setting as dark as Victorian London, would work insanely well. I prefer this idea to what we got, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not sure Ubisoft would have done it true justice. So anyways, let me know what you think. Should Jacob have been a detective, or was what we got actually better? Also, what would you have changed about this whole pitch thing? Let me know in the comments, and see you later, Bilt!